Hey everybody, I'm Mika Gobik of Gobik Coaching, and I empower high achieving women to create their authentic visibility and confident presence. And today we're talking about cutting the excuses. And when at any point in this video you feel like I need to talk to her, she's talking to me, then please follow the scheduling link. It's mikagobik.com scheduling, and this is where you can either book a coffee chat with me, just chatting, or actually a laser coaching session. So I'd love to hear from you. You can also DM me, of course. So let's dive right into it. Why are we talking about excuses when my big thing is authenticity, visibility, and confidence? Because our excuses hold us back, right? That's very simple. I know there are shitty circumstances out there. We all face those every once in a while. All of us, right? No matter what you think of other people. And okay, some maybe more than others, but it is in the end ourselves who hold us back. And that's the thing I want to work on with everybody, because we can create such amazing lives if we stop holding ourselves back. And unfortunately, of course, it's an ongoing thing. So I'll give you a couple of my own examples to see that, yep, I've made a lot of progress and I actually know how to work with others through that too, but still comes up because this is how our brain works. Our brains have a jerk mode that activates super easily. And that's one of the things when they tell us, oh, this is a good reason not to do something. This here is a good reason. When in reality, it's just an excuse. So how that works for each individual is a little different because it depends very much on the self-belief we have adopted, the stories that limit us, what we have adopted early on from society, how we should be or shouldn't, be a good girl, and all these things. Then, of course, you have systemic issues that many people have to deal with. They come on top of all of that. And our personal sense of what is a safe space. That's very personal, where we feel safe to be our authentic self and show up authentically. And a lot of that goes into what are the excuses that our brain sends at us. So let me start with the first example, my example, and that's about making videos and doing workshops. Right? As I'm in a video right now in a live, you know that I overcame the excuses I had against making videos and teaching workshops. But in the beginning, it was horrible. So I had moved to the US from Germany originally, and I had 20 years in running workshops. 20 effing years of experience. And my brain, old jerk that it is, told me, yeah, but you cannot run coaching workshops because you haven't done those and you have to get rid of your accent first. That was a big one. I met with a coach who does specifically help people to get rid of accents, all these things, yeah? So, and then I started doing workshops and actually people liked them. But I was like, videos? No, who wants to see my videos? I still have an accent. And then, of course, I am not a trained professional. I'm not an actress, or people think I talk too much anyway. So the last thing they want is having long videos with me where I'm still talking even more. So all these things added up, right? I haven't grown up here. What do I have to teach people? All these things. And eventually, it really hit me. It hit me when I listened to an entire audiobook read by Arianna Huffington. So now you can decide if you think she has the stronger accent or I do, but it's very clear we both do. She has that Greek accent, I have that German accent, and she reads her own audiobook. Of course she does, because she's a badass. She's written that book, she's built anything you can do. Her accent has become something of a trademark even for her. So this is actually where I call bullshit on my so-called reasons for not doing certain things, because they are excuses. And now my safe word, so to speak, is Arianna Huffington. Because she's done pretty much everything I could imagine doing, and she's done it successfully too. And she has an accent, and she's not a trained actress either, but she still reads her own audiobooks, whatever. All these things, you know where I'm getting with that. And it's a very short phrase, and I have Arianna Huffington over there next to Oprah on my vision board, and she's there more as a role model. No, it does not matter. Not having been born here hasn't held back anybody who's achieved great things, right? I mean, we could have a huge list of highly successful immigrants or first generation Americans. There are tons of people out there with accents who have achieved amazing things. So it is really only just an excuse. And for me, Arianna Huffington, who I admire a lot, is my safe word. It's like to get me out of that mode where my brain tells me, you can't do that because you have an accent. That's one of my big examples. And I would really encourage you, if you have a role model, if that happens for you, this, I can't do that because, and you know one person, it can be someone famous, but it can be someone you've worked with, someone in your family. If there's one person you can come up to say, oh, I tell myself I can't, but they did it, put their name someplace or a little photo of them or something to remind you, you can too. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can. That's the most important thing. And so what I would like us to look at now is the steps to take to identify and cut the excuses, because they usually present as reasons, right? So it is the most important and the hardest step is to see that it's not a reason but an excuse. That is really the crucial step, and it's the hardest. So if you get over that hump, you're good. You're good. We can cut the excuses. Identifying is the thing. So our preferred excuses for most people are, I don't have the time and I don't have the money. Okay? So, and now what your brain does right now when I tell you that is like, yeah, but that's true. Think again. Think again if there could be one way out there how you could make the time for the thing, or find the money, or find a way to get whatever it is for free, or without paying in money, right? I mean, whatever the way is. There are usually ways. It does not mean that you will take those avenues, because the price you're paying for it might be too high for you, right? So it might just not be that much of a priority for you, but it already feels a lot better to tell yourself, hey, I'm not willing to make the time for that. Let's say you have this idea of going to yoga classes 2 or 3 times a week. Now that the studios are back open, you're like, yay, yoga, here I come. And you have this ambitious idea of going 3 times a week. And then you don't go. And then you're like, yeah, I don't really have the time. And yeah, of course, we all have the same amount of time. You don't make the time. And just getting used to saying, I'm not making the time, opens up a really good avenue already to say, do I want to make the time or not? Because now I have a choice. When I don't have the time, it's 0, right? But if I say, I'm not making the time, then I can look at my schedule and say, am I doing other things that are more important to me? Or Do I want to carve out that time? Do I want to drop something else maybe? And I mean, quite honestly, I'm glad you are on Instagram right now watching this, but we all spend a shit ton of time on social media or maybe on binging stuff on Netflix. So we can always make the time. So just go to, when you hear yourself saying, I don't have the time, to say, do I want to make the time or not? If you want to make the time, it's possible. I mean, I'm not a big fan of that. If you want to do something, there's a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. I think that sounds very boot campy. I don't think that is really motivating. But the essence of it is true. Just by saying, I'm not making the time for it. Do I want to make the effort? Is it worth the effort for me or not? And with money, it's kind of similar. Of course, there are things out there that we can't afford. Huh? I don't have the money to buy a Porsche tomorrow, maybe next year. I don't know. No? Sorry, maybe cars are not the best example, but see, that's how my mind works. I've spent a long time working with clients in the car industry, so Porsche is the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about something I can't afford. But is it my priority? No. I mean, if I had 150K laying around, that would be different. But quite honestly, probably not. It's not a priority for me. I probably would need 15 million laying around before I felt like I really want to spend the money on a high-end luxury car. But that's the thing. So if it were a top priority for me, if really I felt that this is the thing I need in my life, then there's a ton of ways to go for it. I can save money and really try to get to the amount X that I need for my dream. If that's it shouldn't be a product anyway, but often it is, right? I can find ways where I can make use of a certain service or product in a different way. That doesn't mean I need to really purchase it. So there are a lot of ways. But in the end, again, like with time, it comes down to, is that a priority? Do I want to make a priority of this? Do I want to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches so that I can afford this and that next month, next week, next year? That type of thing. But that is really, question the validity of these excuses. So time and money are the big ones, but my example was about having an accent, not having trained at something. So education is another big one, especially for women. Oh yeah, I'm giving massages to all my friends, but I'm not a trained massage therapist, so I can't tell my friends that I want money for that. I don't know. I mean, it's not my area of expertise, but you know what I mean. Maybe let's get out of a thing where you can actually harm people physically. Everybody comes to you because your hobby is calligraphy, and then you end up doing all these things for their weddings and their birthdays and all the nice signs, and everybody's like, oh, that's so great, I'm glad you have this great hobby. You can charge them, but that's where our brain comes in and says like, oh, I can charge money, I'm just doing that for a hobby, I haven't even finished this whatever class or whatever it is. That's really that type of excuse I'm talking about. And when we have reached that point, so you are willing to see that, oh, maybe that's not a reason, maybe it's an excuse. That's the point where you think of, all right, that goal that might be involved in this reason, this pseudo reason, this excuse, is it a goal I really want to reach? So to go back to my first example, yes, I absolutely wanted to go back to teaching workshops, and I wanted to become confident in making videos. That was really super important to me. So I knew that I had to get through those excuses. They were only there to keep me in my comfort zone. It's like, yeah, the comfort zone, that stupid misnomer, because it's not super comfortable in there most of the time. But on the other hand, there might be a situation where you want to say, quite honestly, I feel I would love to go to yoga 3 times a week, but in reality, no, I don't want to make the time. If it's a should go, just because your mom goes to this fabulous yoga class and tells you, oh, we could do that together and make that our mother-daughter time, or your BFF goes. But you don't really want to. You want to spend time with them, but that's not what you want to do. You will not make it a priority anyway, or not happily. So then your excuse is really just keeping you from the uncomfortable conversation, either with yourself, this, all right, maybe I am missing out of this thing, or maybe I am not a yogi or something, or it's keeping you from that uncomfortable conversation of saying, Mom, I don't want to go with you to that yoga class. Let's find something else that we both enjoy, but this is your thing. And the same, of course, works at work. No? So there's, for me, for instance, I have 2 businesses. So this is my coaching business, mikagobig.com. But I also have, so Go Big Coaching. But I also have a business that's Go Big Communications. Technically, it's under one umbrella, but I don't really share back and forth. And your German clients about this other business you founded in America and vice versa. And I'm like, oh no. Why would my clients who hire me for communication services, why would they want to be coached by me? And that held for a long time, yeah? Or then, of course, there are those temporary excuses. This is not the best time to contact people about this, because either, oh, this is the time where Europeans go on vacation, so this is really not a good time to talk to people about a new project, or it's like, oh, this is not a good time because I'm so busy, I can't do it anyway. Or we can throw in odds, so that would be the time excuse. The money excuse would be, the services are maybe cheaper there than here, so I would be feel underpaid, something like that. I'm making this one up. But I was really at that point where I felt like, oh no, I have to keep those businesses separately, because people who know me as in this role won't accept me in that other role. And that's, of course, not a reason. That is an excuse to keep me in my comfort zone. And I could continue that list. Our brain is extremely good at throwing excuses at us. So I could probably give you another 5 why I haven't really combined those businesses yet, which is actually on my plan for the fall. I'm going to really put these businesses closer together so that everybody knows what I do, like in both roles. But that is really where you have to, if you say this is a priority, I want to make this a priority, then you have to get out of that comfort zone, because it is really not comfortable. I mean, that's why you build all these walls of excuses, because it's uncomfortable. But what's the worst that can happen? A little embarrassment, or usually nothing. The worst that can happen very often is nothing, or feeling awkward, feeling embarrassed. That's something we can deal with, right? I mean, that's not a big deal. That's okay, especially when we're mentally prepared for that. Not a big deal. And so you don't need to know how to do it yet. You just have to get yourself in that space where you're willing to drop the excuse. Are you willing to try it? Give it a try. So what's really holding you back? What are you afraid of? And really look at that. What's the worst that can happen? It might not lead to anything, right? You might fail at something. You're afraid of the unknown. That's okay. That's part of the human experience. I mean, if you knew what was going to happen, you might have already done it, I may suggest. So maybe you're afraid of the feedback, the response you're getting. But that's okay too. Yeah? People are not required to like what you're doing. Huh? I mean, my family doesn't watch any of these videos. They couldn't care less. Huh? And that's okay. I don't need them to. That is totally okay. They are not the people who I want to address and the people I want to help with this. So it's okay. And then if you reach that point, really start with baby steps. Baby steps, really, really small. Just get yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit. And that way, I call it shuffling out of the comfort zone, right? You make a step, 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 and your comfort zone, if you do it like that, grows with you. Guaranteed. Because what can happen with a baby step? Even less. So don't automatically push yourself to some big goal, right? So my example with reaching out to contacts in Germany, I have that on my list with reaching out to 5 people a week for a while and then see how conversations go. That's not a big deal. I can talk to 5 people or send 5 people a message and say, hey, could we hop on a call? Something like that. That's not a big deal. Well, I can do that. That's my baby step. And as you move ahead, then reevaluate, commit. And then there might be a thing where you're like, all right, this really works. I can commit to the idea, or I can commit to the dream. So going back to my first example, I am fully committed to doing workshops and videos these days. I hardly ever miss a week of doing videos. Very rarely. I mean, when I travel or something. And I do workshops almost every week from fall on, by the way. I will have my own series of master classes again. So not only going to other institutions to teach workshops, but have my own. So you might want to get on my newsletter to not miss those workshops. And that is something at this point, try it out. You don't have to commit right away when you drop your excuse. But after a while, after taking a couple of steps, you're like, decide if it's worth to commit to your ideas or this dream, this goal, because then you know this is part of who you want to be. And at that point, I would also recommend to make it specific. What do you really want? Where do you really want to go with this? And you can have a big goal out there. That's okay. That's totally okay. Just stick with your baby steps, but shoot for the moon. But go there in your small steps. You know that from those movies, the cute movies where they have the big ladder up to the moon? That's what you want to do. And really, the thing I want you to believe and tell yourself every day is that to know that you can change. You don't have to believe all the thoughts your brain throws at you. Our brain is a jerk and throws like 60,000 negative thoughts at us every day of the, I think, 80,000 we have. So that's really not anything you need to believe. You can change and you can train your growth mindset and you can change your thoughts. And if you want to learn how to do that, change your thoughts and change them so consistently that you can cut your excuses and really go for what you want to do and show up fully and authentically for yourself, then schedule a call with me. That is mikagolbig.com scheduling. So Mika, like Michael, M-I-C-H-A, Golbig, G-O, has an E, G-O-E-B-I-G. But other than that, you think of Go Big, and then scheduling, or you just go to my website, gobigcoaching.com, and go on the availability, or send me a DM. But definitely, let's get in touch, let's get that call on the books, and then we can brainstorm how you can start making those changes that matter so much to you, how you can cut the excuses and set you up for a growth mindset and for reaching your dreams, because that's what this is all about. But for now, have a great weekend and see you soon.